Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire symposium. My name is Nav and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmit and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is A Feast for Crows, chapters 33 and 34. Jaime and Cat of the Canals. In these chapters,
someone finally makes it to River Run.
And we meet the best Lannister. And Arya learns 3 things, of which one she makes happen. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. So, Harmith, who died in these chapters?
Oh, the Darien singer guy.
Yeah.
And I believe that's it. Maybe some egos died along the way, but that's unavoidable.
Okay, cool. I think that's the notable one. If we come across any other random ones, we'll just talk about it.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of these chapters?
They were cute. I liked them.
You hated them? How dare you?
No, they were good. I liked them. Obviously, Jaime, Arya, slay. Yeah, they were chill. I can't remember to be completely honest, I read them like 4 or 5 days ago, so I'm kind of struggling to remember what I thought of them. But I don't remember hating them, and I don't remember being obsessed, but I was like, there was definitely a lot of shocking reveals going on, which was fun. But it was nice to just see someone make it to River Run. And cute to see Jaime be like, I'm gonna do this with honor, and then realize that he actually can't. So yeah, it was fun, it was cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, then go ahead and summarize these for us if you remember them.
Oh my god, okay.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, we get close to River Run, and he's talking to the Darren guy, or his cousin Darren, and they're catching up, and then, oh god, I don't remember the conversation though. Okay, that's fine, I'm moving on. Then eventually he gets to the camp right outside River Run. Oh, he's just catching him up on the camp. He's talking to Jenna, and Jenna's like, your plan's not gonna work. And he's like, what do you think I should do? And like, tell me backstory on my father, basically. And she's like, well,
switch.
Arya, Cat is out living her best life. She basically has a system of like, she spends a couple days with them serving, like the Lord, whatever, many-faced guy, and then she spends the rest of the time, and she has to like go learn 3 things and come back, and she's like out living her life, figuring out what's going on. She sees Darien, basically decides to kill him because he's being stupid, and he basically abandoned the peoples, and she...
Okay,
no
that's
detail. And then she goes back, and bad things happen. Is my summary.
Lovely. Well, then let's dive into these chapters.
Okay,
so
slay.
Jaime is awakened by the arrival of his cousin, whose name is Devon.
Sir Devon. Sir Devon.
And he, like, as far as Lannisters go, he's a pretty alright guy,
Yeah.
Like,
he's Warden of the West.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't want that thing. You can take it if you want. Like, I just want to, like, hang out,
Yeah.
So, that was a good vibe, generally. And
he was like, I will fight until my father is avenged.
Right. Although Robb Stark already robbed me of that vengeance. And that's like his motivation, but that's like every guy's motivation, so like whatever. Get a story, get a life.
Oh my god. Get a name. Remember that era.
They talk about Jaime's hand or lack thereof, and the rumor he has heard is that Catelyn took it off. But Jaime's like, wait, where'd you hear that? It was Vargo Hoat. Like, that's very misconstrued information.
Oh my god.
like now I'm like, I want to hear even more rumors, like just how
how
messed up.
absurd does it get?
Exactly. I mean, we do, like, we get that with a lot of aspects, but like I want to hear more about this particular one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to hear more of them, or maybe I'm remembering some from
the hand that slays the Kingslayer be cursed by some, like, Targaryen loyalist. Like,
right. Wait. Then why would they want the hand that slayed Jaime's hand to be cursed?
No. The hand that slayed...
You said slayed Kingslayer, didn't you? Or did you say the king? And I misheard. You know what? Maybe my ears are hearing things.
I might have said Kingslayer, though.
And I may have misheard.
Totally
so, you know what? We'll both just move on from that.
But you know what I meant. Like, I like, they are like, of course his hand got cursed. He's a Kingslayer. And then it's like...
Right. That's
the curse
hand
is now showing
with,
itself.
so that's why,
yeah.
Okay. Right. It was Daenerys who somehow secretly arranged it, you know?
I'm dead. Oh my god.
So they're talking about the Jaime's, like, squires, and his squires, like, a couple of them are River Lord's sons. Mm-hmm. So it's a little like, oh, should we be talking shit about the River Lords in front of them? Because they're talking about how, okay, we've got all these people at River Run, and a bunch of them are River Lords, but they're not really their heart's not in it. And there's like a whole bunch more that never even showed, because they're really just still loyal to the Starks, but like pay us lip service as needed.
Yeah.
And speaking of people at River Run, some of the more notable people at River Run are the Freys, who have been causing a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Oh my god. They are just, as per usual, finding the most annoying way to be there.
Yeah, so Emmon Frey, who is Jenna's husband, is now the Lord of River Run. Sorry. I just lost everything there.
And he won't let anyone forget it.
Yeah, he won't let anyone forget it, and he's dictating how the siege should be run because he doesn't want any damage to be done to his castle. But since they don't have the castle, like, what is he the lord of? He, like, pulls out his parchment paper in Ned Stark style later on, and is like, but I got a piece of paper! Look at it!
Oh my god, he should have been besties with Ned. Oh my god, that's funny. I'm sure there's fan fiction written about, like, Ned and a Frey being, like, besties. Possibly even, like, gay lovers. I bet people have written that.
Oh, definitely, but honestly, I don't know, because, like, the
like
Freys
Wyatt
are pretty...
Frey?
Yeah, like, Freys are pretty unanimously hated. Like, other than, like, Fat Walda and, like, Roslyn and, you know, like, a couple here and there, nobody really likes nobody in the fandom is like, I want to ship him
the
with
phrase.
Anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's like a Ned could fix him situation.
Okay.
You unfray the fray, basically. You fray the fray of the fray.
Okay. Too much fray.
Yeah. And then Ryman is also being really annoying. Like, he just is pooping all over the plans by being drunk all the time and trying to take authority.
Yeah, and he marches out poor Edmure Tully up to the gallows every day and threatens to hang him, but never does.
Yeah.
So he's
just
got
bad for their cred and bad for poor Edmure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But, like, even Edmure's like, I'm not actually gonna die, but I almost wish I were. Like, that's probably what he's thinking, you know?
Right, yeah.
And Jaime thinks back to Gatehouse Amy and how sad she was to have her marriage be broken down, but also she was being comforted by that one knight who was making eyes at her, so she'll be okay.
But he's just kind of worried about her relatives feeling slighted, because he's like, oh, she'll be fine, but they're not going to take this lightly, you know?
Freys don't take broken marriages well, as history has shown us, so...
As recent history has shown us, too.
Yeah, so they kind of get into talking about Kevin and how he passed through River Run, but he wasn't very happy, and, you know, he was kind of sulking along. And... Devin's just like, oh, he's got another son. He can just marry him to Amy and still keep it in the family, you know?
Yeah, that's true. He's like, yeah, he was just brooding the whole time when he was here, and just...
Speaking of families, I don't know. I'm trying to, like, segue, but there's no...
Wait, but right before you segue, just while we're talking about the phrase...
Yeah.
And them, yeah, so Davin's getting married... to someone, one of the Freys, but he's like, before Oxcross, I was supposed to get married to a red wine, and like, your father really just set me up with some random person, like, hello? With like a random Frey. And then he also hates Walder Rivers, who I don't really remember who that is, but apparently he's a bastard.
Yeah, he's like...
Walder Frey's
like bastard, yeah.
Have we heard about him before? Like, did we know he was
so.
out here doing anything? I think he was
one of the ones that went to River Run to be like, hey, everything will be to invite them to the Red Wedding, basically. And it was supposed to be like this big insult, like they sent the bastard and the person that's disabled.
Oh, right. Okay, yes.
But apparently this Walder Rivers just sleeps with everyone in his family. Like, that's a fun detail. So, like, that weird, like, incestuous vibe we got from the phrase is, like, actually real.
Right.
Like, you know how they were giving Craster, but not quite? But now it's giving even more Craster.
Right. Oh, that's so weird. Oh, God, I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. So,
so basically
Freys
all
are
the
horrible,
Freys are being annoying.
but they are about to have another addition to their family via... Rosalind Frey, because she's pregnant. Edmure's gonna have a baby.
Whoa.
And they're all like concerned about what the sex of the baby is gonna be. They're like, if it's a boy, the phrase would be it would make things easier on one hand, because then they could just get rid of Edmure because they've got an heir, and you know, so Edmure can be out of the picture. But if it's a girl, they can marry the girl into whoever, to one of, you know... Like
the Freys, and then
they're
so legitimized in their claim.
Keep it in the family. And... Exactly. So there's, like, this weird thing going on, and... Rosalind Frey doesn't want it to be a boy because she actually loves Edmure, or at least likes him enough for him to live. So that's something, I guess.
Yeah, and also like Jane's dad, Gavin Westerling, is like his wife's in there, his kids are in there, so he's kind of one of the ones who's like, y'all, if we kill Edmure, the Blackfish might retaliate by killing my family, so we're not doing that. So he's putting pressure in the other direction, too.
A lot of, like, contradicting things happening.
Yeah, and, like, different motivations, and it's just, like, you're not gonna make everyone happy.
Yeah. So, speaking of the Westerlings, like, Jane is in there, so, don't know how she feels about this whole situation. Like, we haven't, we saw her... The last time we saw her, she was like, oh, Rob and I are having sex every day because I want a baby so bad. And, like, that was, like, the last thing we heard from her, basically.
Oh, that was so sad.
Or was it when she, like, Rob was trying to go to River Run and she kept, like, coming to say goodbye to him, like, every couple of miles?
Oh, my God. Now we know what that was about.
Dude,
she probably just... was like, oh my God.
No, she was like, take me with you.
She wanted to go?
Yeah.
Okay,
and they didn't take her because they were like, this is going to be a further insult to the phrase, so let's not take her. And I think she kept being like, no, take me with you.
Is it because she knew the shit that was going to go down at River Run?
Then why would she want to be there?
Yeah, Well, in this case, like, I don't know. Maybe she was a protected member of the plan.
Maybe I'm misremembering
like
it. Maybe what she was saying was don't go, but there was no way he wasn't gonna go. So what I think is that it was more like take me.
Right. Because I have, like, we've speculated, and, like, even with this chapter, I was kind of wondering, like, how much she knew versus how much it was just family.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, is she more of a Rosalind Frey in this situation, you know? Where, like, she knew but didn't like it, or is it, like, she didn't really know? I'm leaning more towards, like, she just didn't know.
And was just kind of, like, subtly played as a pawn.
Yeah, it was, like, the weird uncle that we heard about who was like, oh, he's a little sus.
Right. I mean, they were all kind of sus. Like, they not really, but there was an uncle that was extra sus, yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I don't know. This is just kind of sad, though.
Yeah. So, lots is going on at River Run, and they've been there for a while, so the Freys are, like, really, living it up. They're partying. They're having entertainment and games and stuff. Like,
oh my god.
This is not how you do a siege, dudes.
Yeah, not me wasting all my resources. When the people inside could outlast for, like, 2 years.
Except that they're so concerned about their resources that they won't share them with the Lannisters. They're like, oh, we have enough supplies for us, but not for you. So, go fish, basically.
Go fish is a wild reference. Oh my god. Is go fish, like, a global phenomenon? Or is that one of those Canadian things that we think is a big deal, but really only we care about?
I have no idea. I've only ever played it in Canada.
Like, because I just feel like I've never seen it, like, in culture or, like, in a show. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never seen it elsewhere.
I've definitely seen it in a show.
Really?
Like, in Gilmore Girls, Emily plays Go Fish with a girl that she thinks is Luke's daughter, but it's just some random kid off the street.
That's so funny.
Spoilers.
Oh my god.
No, so it's definitely at least in the States.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, guys, listeners, do you guys play Go Fish?
But imagine, like, if Go Fish were a thing in Punjab, it would be like, "Ja machi fad ke liya." Like, how funny would that be?
Please.
It just sounds so different.
Machi fad. Just every 2 seconds.
Fad.
When the person doesn't have your card, you're like, you go get the fish. Oh
okay. But that's, listeners from around the world, tell us if you play Go Fish. And maybe it's like Go Fish, but it's called something else, you know?
Yeah. Or if, like, watching it in, like, Gilmore Girls was your first introduction to, like, what is this weird game?
Yeah, okay. That just reminded me how we bonded as friends playing cards. Do you remember that?
That probably lowered my self-esteem a few notches too, but that's okay, because I was so bad at the card game. Well, actually, no, that's the thing. I wasn't so bad at them. Nav and their brother are just, like, really smart people, and they always have been. So the problem was that I was playing with these two people who are just, like, really smart, and I'm just like
I think you're overestimating us.
And I'm just like a 6-year-old trying to figure out this card game.
You were not 6. You were like 8.
I was 6. Oh wait, I was like 7. Whatever. I was, like, trying to figure out my life, and these people were just, like, literally, you guys, I would lose every single time without fail. I don't think I won a single time.
Okay, we should play that again to see how you do now.
It was still, okay, here's the thing. The ratio stayed the same. Like, we're all definitely a lot smarter than we were then, but the ratio is the same.
But I feel like I'm getting less and less smart every day, so I think the ratio may be shortening. Like, if I
get closer and closer, and by the time we get to age 70,
ratio to begin with, if there was one to begin with.
Oh my god. And then by the time we get to, like, age 70, it'll be my time to shine. Well, that's good, because at 70 we'll have time to play.
I got too many health problems.
You know, okay, no offense. I was thinking about this the other day.
I'm
Hold on,
offended
hold on.
already. I don't know what you're gonna say, but I'm already offended.
I just think it's so funny because you have so many health problems. Listen. It's like if there is like some sort of force out there, they had to even it out by giving you health problems because everything else was too up there, you know? So they were like, how do we humble this person by giving them health problems?
I don't know if to be like overly flattered or be overly offended. I can't tell with that statement.
Well, you already like your health problems are there. Like
I mean, I could probably take a little bit better care of my health, and some of them wouldn't go away, but maybe be minimized. But you know what?
Funny.
My mom already
Life's
tells me
for
that,
living.
so maybe I don't need to tell myself that.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Anyway, I like trust against like the average person. I'm not bad at card games.
Well, how would I know?
No, that's me justifying to the listeners.
I was just being snarty. Snarky. I was gonna say snotty and then snarky, and I said snarty.
Oh, that's funny. See, I just heard snarky, so I was like, okay.
Well, okay, you could cut all that out and just pretend that we all said the same thing and you heard the same thing and nobody has any hearing problems.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Or speaking problems or breathing problems or living problems or
Have you ever gotten your ears checked?
Yeah.
Like how you listen?
Oh yeah, no, it's just like it's not a physical thing with my ears. It's just my ears sometimes literally just like stop processing information.
Yeah, me too.
Or like I guess my brain stops processing the information from my ears. Like that's what happens when I have to sometimes tell you to be a little quieter because I literally can't understand what you're saying anymore.
Right, yeah. Your poor brain just gets overloaded with stimulus.
Like the time I went to a rock concert and heard nothing.
That is still like that's still like a bit. Like that's not true. That's so wild.
I'm telling you. Okay, so I went to this and I like listened to one album a lot, right? And then there was this one song that I really liked and I was really looking forward to hearing them play it. I get there and it all sounds the same, or like I can't tell anything differently. And the song that I've been obsessing with for like a month, apparently they played it. I have no idea because I couldn't hear any of it.
So sad.
And
so sad.
This was like so long ago that even if my hearing like is physically damaged now, it was not physically damaged then, you know?
Oh my god. Where do you get your ears checked? You have to like go find an ear doctor?
No, you can like when you get your annual physical, you could they can just look in there and be like, stop poking around or or like if they know something noticeable? Then they would.
But they
literally have like the zoomy thingy. They can see a lot of stuff.
Okay. Slay. I don't think I've gotten a physical.
Oh my god. Okay, we're not going to talk about your issue with getting the care
I will schedule a physical. I just like literally it was like last year, like when I was like 20, I was like, oh, I've like been an adult for 2 years, like I should start getting like the cancer checks, like the like physical, and then I was like, oh, I'll worry about that later. So I'm probably gonna get on that now that I've thought about it again. Hey, I have made a lot of health money moves, okay? I'm slowly getting there.
Okay. Yeah.
That is what I'm choosing
in your journey to becoming me slowly.
Exactly. Or maybe just a responsible adult with my health. Most of the things
I don't know
that
if I'm a responsible adult with my health.
Well, here's the thing. It's the thing we've talked about before, where you might not want to work on the issue or do anything about it, but you like to know. So you're the informed adult about the issue, not necessarily the responsible adult. But I refuse to do either. I refuse to work on my problems, and I refuse to know them because then I feel obligated to work on them.
Right. Okay. It's okay. We're just trying to be the best versions of ourselves, and it's a lot. It takes a lot of time and energy. Like, it's not gonna happen overnight.
So true.
As much as I convince myself that tomorrow's the day that I'm gonna get my shit together every night, it never is the day.
Me at every 2 a.m. Yeah, like I'm really gonna organize tomorrow. I'm really gonna like start investing into this, and it's always like the most random thing.
Oh yeah, Okay, sorry. That's a conversation we need to have at another time.
I watched your like investing playlist and I got inspired.
You did?
I did. That was one of the things I did this month. You know, I said this month has just been me doing self-improvement and avoiding my life otherwise. Because there was no way for me to healthily just do both. So I went through like, you know that beginner's playlist you have that you just send to everyone every time?
For my brother's like 18th birthday, I created a financial literacy playlist, just filling in the listeners, and it just had like the basics of like investing is one of them, but like it has all the things in it.
I watched all the things. I watched every single video. And also what I loved though is because I waited so long to watch it, there was a lot that I already did know, which made me feel more empowered because I was like, you're so smart. And like, it just made me feel like I'd been doing the right thing, you know?
That's good.
But then there was just the thing of like a few of them were like, oh, you should have multiple savings accounts, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, we'll see when I can do that. And then also just the investing thing was like, okay, this is definitely something that I've like never tried to do. But now I'm kind of like, it's like watching all those videos and like learning about it a bit more. It's gone from like completely foreign concept, literally no idea what that even means, to like, okay, this is a thing I could do. I would just have to, like, think about it a bit more. Like, you know, sort of thing. So, that's definitely, like, a near future goal to get into.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, everybody, if you have the means, invest, because we are, unfortunately, forced to live in this capitalist society, and we just gotta do what we can to survive it, you know?
Yeah. And if you want the link to the financial literacy playlist, I got you.
Okay, yeah, I guess we can share that.
No, we're gonna help our listeners.
Isn't it like Canada specific?
Oh, wait, yeah, JK, don't ask us for the link.
But you know what? There's actually some general things that are helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? If you want the link, let us know. You can have the link. It's just it's just videos on YouTube that I curated over some time. I should go watch and rewatch all of them because it's been like 5 years, right? So,
oh my god, yeah.
Also, what was I gonna say? Yeah, but basically, like, the fact that we live in a capitalist society means that nobody else, like, the society is not going to take care of us. So investing is what we need to do to be able to take care of ourselves when nobody else will, you know?
So true.
Like, it just sucks. It just sucks. It's such a cycle. Like, if we just had a place, we lived in a place where everybody just cared for each other and looked out for each other and was free to do the best at what they want to do, like, it would be such a utopia.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, oh, socialism sucks, because, like, if people aren't literally under threat of death, they wouldn't work. They wouldn't do their best work. Like, but it's literally the opposite. If people weren't worried about having to survive, they would be able to accomplish so much. Just,
Yeah. Have you ever seen kids and what they get up to during vacation? And, like, what, like, a 40-year-old with, like, a month off from work, like, in a position to do that can do? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, like, all of those arguments fall apart as soon as you see any of those things. Because you realize that, like, when you give people the means to be able to do what they want, they're gonna, like, nobody, like, you give them the resources to take care of their health, take care of their family. Like, they're not gonna be like, oh, okay, but I don't want to do anything. Because no, the reason people don't want to do anything is because they're exhausted. Like, you know?
Yeah.
That's not, like, a human nature thing. That's a environmental thing. Like, what's What?
Yeah, and like all the things that are like upheld as like the great, like, you know, like think about like Da Vinci's art or something. Everybody's like a greatest artist ever or whatever, right? I'm not an art critic. I don't have like any comments on that, but like Da Vinci had patrons who paid for him to do art.
Yeah.
So, you know, like,
and all the great philosophers literally just sat there thinking. That's all they ever did. Like
if they had to go out and like work a 9 to 5, they wouldn't have the time, energy, brain power to do any of the great things they did. Just
exactly.
That's why like there's like we're just not gonna have any great people anymore in the world. They're all just gonna be crippled by capitalism.
Yeah. I do think about that all the time, because it's like you look at like the art that we do now and like the art that people did like even like 50, 100 years ago, like anything from like music down to like doodling or like,
because it's all about selling the art. It's not about like art for art's sake.
Exactly. It's like as soon as you make the art, start distributing it, start commercializing it, start posting it on TikTok so everyone can start clipping this song and it can go viral by the time you release it. Like, you can't just have a thing for yourself, and you can't like actually work on something and be like it's so rare to hear those stories anymore of like people being like, I made this and then I just kept working on it for a couple of years because I came back to it a year later and I had a better idea. Like, it's like, no, it's like, just get it out there as soon as possible. It's like a train and train wreck.
I'm not saying what we do or make is art, but we are doing something here just for the fun of it. And I think we're like defying that. So I'm really proud of us for doing that with this podcast, you know?
Yeah, that's so true. Because we're just like, this is just vibes. Purely vibes. And other people can join the vibe train if they want.
Yeah,
we would
and get
love
off
them to.
If they like need a break, that's fine.
Yeah, we would absolutely love other people to join the vibe train. However, that's okay. Like, you know?
Yeah.
The vibe train is vibe train, regardless of how many people are on it.
But also think about all the times that we have to be like, okay, I can't record or things are happening because I have to go work or I have to do schoolwork so that I can then make money doing what I did in school, you know?
Or I'm so tired from work, so tired from school. Like, it's just like, oh my god. The amount of obstacles we have to sprint through to get here every time.
It's like, just high five. Here, hang on. There we go. That was a high five.
That's funny. Oh my god. I'm just gonna look at the audio and it'll just be a little it'll just look like those symbols sort of things.
Anyway, so
slave.
High five to us and high five to our listeners.
Yes!
Now let's move on to feudalism from capitalism.
I'm dead.
We went on a real tangent there.
We did. Now let's criticize feudalism. So we feel better about how we live.
Honestly,
Given
the choice
go
between feudalism and capitalism, I might just choose feudalism.
I can't. It's just like, unless there was like a modern version of feudalism where like
there definitely
do the thing, like, well, yeah, I guess, but like, I still just don't want to like. At least this is like the hell we know. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of territory that would need to be navigated. Like, I'm kind of, okay, I don't support old people being set in their ways. But the older I get, the more I listen. But the older I get, the more I get it.
Right, yeah.
Because I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, like,
you're
imagine
so
like
old. That's your ripe old age of 21. So...
Like, I'm like, if like a new fucking, if a watermelon phone came out right now, and I had to learn, I was just trying to come up with a new fruit.
Like, or like instead of apple, watermelon.
Yeah.
Okay.
If if it was like, hey, now you can actually teleport through rocks. Like, you just skip a rock across the creek and like, you can teleport. Like, if something weird and bonkers like that came out, like, I would be so annoying. Have you guys seen those, okay, I hate to, like, kind of give an ad for this thing, but it's fine, like, it's out there, I see it everywhere, but, like, you know those, like, Meta Ray-Ban glasses that have, like, recently come out that they're advertising? I'm so annoying about those, because I just think they're so stupid.
They definitely are.
I'm just like, we just, like, don't really, I just think it's, like, we just don't really need that. Like, there's so many other innovations we could be doing. Like, I think it's cool that they exist.
The only thing I want is to be able to take a picture of anything I see just by thinking about it for a second.
Right, yeah.
Like, instead of having to pull out my phone, and phones never take the photo never turns out how it's not what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes you just see a site and you're just, like, mesmerized by it.
Yeah.
You know? But also, then isn't the value in just living in it in that moment instead of trying to capture it constantly? Like,
so true. I know, but every once in a while you're like, I wish I could have an exception for this, like, sunset, you know? So I do get it. But yeah, like, what was I saying? Hold on. I was on,
Meta glasses are stupid.
I think it's cool that they exist, but I think my problem with it is it just reminds me that we're focused on all the wrong things, you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, this is what we're focused on. And I just think the whole, when products get too branded, it just irks me, and it's just very much that. But anyway, my point was that, what was my point? Hold on. Oh, the glasses bother me. That bothers me enough. So I totally get the old people thing of, like, oh my god. There was more of a point there. Let me think of it. What was I talking about?
People being stuck in their ways.
People being stuck in their ways.
Capitalism, feudalism. Evil, you know.
Evil. Yes. Okay, so I think my whole point with that whole long-winded thing was just, like, even little things like that, and, like, my brother is, like, my brother is, like, 9 years younger than me. That is not old enough that is not big enough of a difference of how often I find myself saying back in my day. And it's gone from not being, like, I used to be like, oh, like, when I was younger, blah, 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 and I started saying back in my day as a joke. Now I mean it. Like, I really do. Like, and the amount of times I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, why would you do that? Like, just go play outside? Like, you know? And it's just like, anyway, my whole point, with my super long-winded point with that, is just like, I don't even like doing that. But imagine now having to be like, okay, like, learning feudalism. Like, I've spent 21 years living capitalism. I know the ins and outs. Like, I know where I'm at. Long-winded way to say that. I agree. And now I'm even realizing that the example I gave doesn't really make sense, because in the feudalism, I don't want to learn it because I'm lazy, and for other reasons, but mainly because it's lazy, like, trying to switch between systems, that's so annoying. But with the other one, it's more like society feels like it's deteriorating more than me being lazy. Like, I'm cool with learning new technology, but I just think it's stupid that we're so focused on technology and not on, you know, people's healths or people's well-beings, you know? At
least since the world is gonna end, we don't have to think about, like, our legacy or anything, because none of it's gonna matter. Like, we're gonna be dead. The world's gonna be dead.
Oh my god. I do think about that all the time, because I'm like, am I gonna be done school before I just sort of die and get catapulted to space? Like, you know? If that's what happens when you die, like, I don't know, maybe you just become a spaceship or, like, a little asteroid, you know?
Alright, let's catapult back to River Run.
There we go! To the siege!
Yes, exactly.
Oh my god, okay, we need to stop getting distracted or else my mom's gonna leave me. Okay, hold on.
Not permanently, folks, not permanently. They're just going out and her mom's impatient.
Yeah, we have to go shopping. Sorry, definitely should give context with that one. My mom's gonna leave me.
Just like revealing some major trauma casually.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Okay,
stop,
so
that's so funny.
where even were we?
That's why I No, it's okay.
I'm just gonna skim through and try to.
Yeah, I think just one more thing was like, we just hear about the Stoneheart girly pop again because they're like, they're coming to fish.
Phrase.
Yeah, like when we're not giving them food, they go off to try and like fish and stuff, and it just ain't really working.
And also, it's outlaws have their camp surrounded, and there's like watchfires all around them. So like, ooh, it gives me like goosebumps, like of creeps. You know, it's cool.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like how long the siege can go on. Can we starve them out? Like we're running like food for us is hard, but like we won't starve because there's fish. What about them? Apparently they have at least 2 years worth of supplies, and the blackfish was very efficient, and he just kicked out anybody who wasn't needed, so they're well provisioned. So they either have to take the castle by force or negotiation, and Jaime's like, that's what I'm gonna try. And apparently Ryman Frey tried it, but he like walked up to the castle all drunk and just was like stupid, so he got his horse killed in the process and had to run back. And Jaime's like, well, I'm gonna give very generous terms, because his whole thing is, I'm just gonna make it so nice that I don't have to fight the Tullys, and then I don't have to break my promise to Catelyn, you know?
Yeah. Oh my god.
They're talking about, when they talk about the outlaws, they talk about Dondarrion. He's here, he's there, he's every fucking where. They literally say that, so I had to. Okay, it wasn't even a reference; it was just a quote. Okay.
Oh my god.
So why am I getting defensive? I think that's my brain being like, stop with the tangents already.
Yeah, but then he just kind of talks to his cousin for a while. They're catching up. Yeah, and then they get back. They go back along the Red Fork. Yeah,
they're talking about Cersei and, you know, like how Cersei's
I was like, is this weird? Like, is he like being weird about Cersei? But I don't know. Because he's like, how Cersei is beautiful as ever. But I guess it could have been like a courtesy thing, but in my head I just was like...
or like, she's a woman. Her only thing of value is her beauty, so let's reference that, you know?
Yeah, I guess my thing is just with the Lannisters, you just never know. Like, does he know about the Cersei stuff, sort of thing? Like, because you know how, like, Kevin, you know how we've had characters throughout the story, like, know about Jaime and Cersei, but just not say anything because it either benefits them or... Like, they've all heard the
rumors.
Yeah, so I just always wonder, like, whenever anyone, like, asks Jaime about Cersei or Cersei about Jaime, if they're, like, subtly trying to be like, I know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's possible, but for some reason I just don't think so. I have no evidence to back that up, though. It's just, like, it's the vibes, or the gut feeling.
Yeah.
And as we've determined today, this podcast is just vibes.
Oh my god.
That's what we should be called. Okay, so Jaime like takes a, you know, walk around the camp, and he's like, I like being here with the soldiers. This is like where I belong. This is cool. They hear wolves howling across the way. Wonder who like Nymeria and her wolves are by the Trident, so this isn't quite the Trident, but have they traveled for some reason?
Yeah, I don't know.
So Jaime goes and grabs Sir Ilan Payne to go do some practice. And Jaime's like, maybe I'm good at this, but not quite. Like, Ilan Payne really just fucks him up.
Yeah.
And... so at this point, they haven't quite gotten to River Run yet. So Jaime ends the day fighting Ilan Payne, and then the next day they finally complete the last leg of their journey, and they make it to River Run. And he's just kind of assessing the situation, what it's like, and how he can go about doing this, and just all the hubbub that's about.
Yeah, and he's worried. He's worried about, like, oh my god, I'm probably gonna have to break my vow. How do I get out of this? Like, give me a cheat code.
And
then
looking at Riverrun, he remembers the first time ever he
Yeah.
was there is when he was squire to Craycall, and he was sent on a message to Riverrun, and Lord Tully took his time replying so that Jaime would have to hang out, and he was clearly trying to set Jaime up with Liza.
This
who
is
he's
so
like-
funny.
He's like, she wasn't actually not good looking, but I just was much more fascinated with her uncle, the Blackfish, because the Blackfish is like this legendary hero, you know? And he's like, at that time, the Blackfish was younger than I am now, and he had already like accomplished so much, and what have I done, and all of that self-deprecating thing, you know?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So that was cool. Like, but it adds to the whole so now he's gonna have to like negotiate and or fight with the Blackfish, and it's like a childhood hero of his, you know.
Oh my god. And I also wonder what the message was that he was like supposed to deliver. Like, if
I feel like it was just like random, like LOL,
Right.
like a chit under the table thing, just like an excuse to get Jaime there, you know.
Right, so that he would be forced to, like... So maybe Craycall was playing, like, matchmaker, you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, interesting. That's so funny. Imagine that alternate reality, though. And that also makes me think, like... Imagine if it had been, like... Okay, like, Catelyn and Jaime or something. Like, could you imagine?
I mean... Let me think about it. I have no idea. Okay, there's an email from a listener that we're going to talk about at the end of this episode, and let's kind of come back to this then.
Because it literally is like her older sister had seemed more interesting, though, and like it still is like, oh yeah, it kind of reads like head over heels for Cersei. However, Catelyn is a bit more intriguing than Lysa. Like, he just was maybe a bit more, like, whatever, like, emotionally attracted or, like, intellectually, or maybe he just thought she was more pretty. But, like, it feels like that could have, like,
or,
been
like,
a thing.
You know, anytime, like, you go visit, like, family friends or something, and they've got, like, there's usually, like, one member of the family that you get along with more than the others. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
So, he's taking note of who all the lords and everybody are there, and also who's not there. And apparently the Blackwoods and Brackens are at it again. And, okay, So the Brackens have come over to the Lannisters, and the Blackwoods still hold out for the Starks. And this is like these are the families that need any excuse to fight, so
right. Yes.
And they set up his tent. At Riverrun, they've still got the wolf of like the Stark banner raised up high, so that's cool. I mean, it's been so long since we've seen that, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're raising like a new siege tower. They got like a little ram going on, and what's his face? Emmon is upset about all this, as we know, because he's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, so
don't mess up my
Jenna
castle.
comes in, and Emmon comes with her, and yeah, and the first thing she says is like, "Oh, I'm sorry for your loss," and he's like, "Oh, it's fine. I got a new hand," and she's like, "I was talking about your father," which is like, I
that was
embarrassing.
That is embarrassing, Jaime. Like, what are you on about?
But like that makes you think about how little he actually thinks about Tywin these days.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's avoiding it because he feels guilty for his death.
Right.
But also maybe it's just like finally he doesn't have to think about his dad.
Right. Yeah.
That was the moment.
Oh my god.
And, you know, she's like, a man like Tywin comes but once in 1,000 years. Oh no, it's her husband who says that. Sorry. Right. He's like still, trying to butter up Tywin even in his grave.
Oh my god.
And so Jenna's like big and fat and strong and just like very hardy, like she's full of life. And then this guy looks like half dead. He's super skinny and just like short and not very strong of character. So they're immediately she's like, okay, so like what happened? Is it really Tyrion that killed Tywin? And he's like, yeah, that is what happened. And she's like, oh my god, that sucks. And her husband's like, oh my god, I fear for us all with Tywin gone. And she's like, you feared for us all even when he was here.
Oh my god.
So this is when they're like, okay, so nephew, tell us of our son Cleos and how he died. So remember that guy?
Oh my god. I forgot that he was their son.
Yeah, so like we finally meet his parents.
Oh my god.
And
how's
Jaime...
how's he Gemma's son? That's wild to me.
Jenna.
Oh yeah, her.
Gemma. Yeah, so Jaime's like, oh, outlaws got to us and he fought bravely and died saving us and whatever. And he's like trying to, like, very much embellishing the story in Cleos's favor. And obviously they're comforted by this and they're like, okay, that's good. At least he was courageous. Where did you bury him? And Jaime's like, we didn't. Like in his head. But he's like, oh no, he was laid to rest by a creek. I'll find his bones later and send him to you. And he's like, finding some bones shouldn't be hard. There's so many of them around.
So sad.
But honestly, like, I don't want Jenna to have to worry about that anymore, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And this is what Emmett is like. But you can't be you're here now. Do it without destroying the castle.
Oh my god.
Castle.
And this is when he pulls out the piece of paper.
Exactly. I have a decree signed by the king.
Oh my god.
And Jenna's like, put that thing away. As long as the blackfish is around, you are lord of nothing.
Oh my god.
And Emmon starts going on about how he's lord over his father, and even though he has duties to his father as his son, but like Bannerman must pay homage to his lord. But then Jaime's like, you seem precious about that paper, but you don't seem to have read it. You're not the overlord. You just get River Run. And it's fucking Littlefinger, who's the Lord of the Trident and all the Riverlands.
Oh my god. Is it typically like the person who has River Run has the Riverlands? Yeah. And now with this new position, that's no longer the case.
Yeah, like the Tullys were Lord Paramount of the Riverlands.
Right, got it. Okay.
And then obviously Tullys are kicked out, and then they install Littlefinger in Harrenhal so that he could marry Lysa.
Right.
And made him lord of all of that.
Got it.
And yeah.
Okay.
They still gotta like take River Run. Like, it's still an important castle, but it's no longer the seat of the Lord Paramount.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and Emmon's like, oh my god, Harrenhal's a ruin, and Baelish, he sucks. And Jaime's like, you know what? If you have a problem, go take it up with Cersei. I'm not taking care of this.
Oh my god.
So this is when she tells her husband to shut the fuck up and get out. And that's great. Because she's like, we got family matters to discuss. So he bumbles out, and this is when Jaime's thinking about how, like, Jenna and this Emmon guy were married when Emmon was 14 and she was half his age, so 7. Oh god.
Oh my god.
And it was said that, or Tyrion used to say that Tywin gave his brother-in-law a nervous belly for a wedding gift.
Oh my god.
And, you know, Jaime's like, yeah, Jenna's like so cool and Emmon is so not, but I guess like they have 4 sons, so it's cool, but like who really knows whose sons they are? Like,
oh my god.
there's no suggestion of who this could be, but you know what? I'm for it. I'm
done. Anything to avoid procreating with a Frey, to be like
Honestly.
real. I don't want my kids to have Frey DNA. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And Jenna's like, oh my god, what was Tywin thinking naming him Lord of Riverrun? And Jaime's like, well, he probably wanted your sons to, you know, inherit and all of that. And he's like, yeah, but he should have given us dairy, because like Cleos's wife was a dairy. So like they kind of had a claim there too, and it's a much safer place to hold. It's easier than Riverrun. But obviously Kevin was in on those negotiations, so he wanted that for his son. So like, you know, all of that. And Jaime is like, well, you know, what's his face? Lancel's not in Derry anymore. You can have it now if you want. And Jenna's like, what? No, it's too late. Get this part over with.
Oh my god.
And this is when they're talking about like Edmure's potential baby and what impact that would have on the situation.
Yeah. So basically, like, having a boy is more complicated than having a girl.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And they're like, well, also, like, Brendan Tully might just claim Riverrun for himself because he's a Tully, or he might claim it for Robert Aaron. Remember that kid? And Jaime's like, I remember that kid. He was sickly. And he literally says he won't survive long enough to have any kids. Like,
so sad.
Harsh assessment.
Oh my god, yeah.
And, this is when he's like, besides, why would the Lord of the Eyrie want to be the Lord of Riverrun? And she's like, why would one rich man want another? Like, you know, capitalism.
Feudalism. Oh my god.
So I feel like we've summed up a lot of this conversation. Oh, talking of Lancel, and he's like, yeah, Lancel's heading over to join the Holy Fighters. I keep calling them like something else every time, but I have no idea what it's actually
what they're
called.
Actually. Oh my god.
But Jenna's like, oh, you know, it makes sense. Protecting the High Septon is kind of like protecting the king, aka we all knew he wanted to be you, Jaime. So, and then speaking of the 7. Why would Cersei permit the Faith to arm again? Asks Jenna. And Jaime's like, well, I guess she had reasons. But she's like, no, there was like real reasons that they should not be armed. And she starts like talking about all the trouble they caused for the Targaryen kings. And like accomplishment it was to have unarmed the Faith. And now Cersei has gone and undone all of that in one fell swoop. So, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's interesting, but it also raises this question of like, not this question, but I think it's kind of like what we were talking about before, where it's like, I don't know, I do wonder though, like, because from everything we've heard so far, it's like, okay, they can be like, oh, we're for the people, we're for the sept, blah, 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 we're for, like, you know, doing this in, like, God's image, like, God's our king, basically, right?
Right.
Which, like, I guess I just wonder, and, like, I don't like that, right? Like, because then it's pretty exploitative, but I do wonder, like, it's kind of the same as what the rest of them do, right? It's almost just like having another faction that's kind of the same as, like, the other ones. Like, how's it different than, like...
Right, for sure. It's like another military power. The only thing is, this one kind of transcends boundaries.
Yeah. That's the thing, is, like, they can just kind of, like...
This is faith without borders. Warriors without borders.
Oh my god. Yeah, like, they can just kind of go anywhere and be like, sorry, that's a risk to our... Yeah, like, it is, like... It's weird. I definitely don't like this. It's felt icky since the second we saw it happen, but... I don't know. It's definitely not a good thing that she did here.
Well, a lot of people seem to be thinking that, but Jaime himself doesn't seem that concerned, and Cersei is certainly not concerned, so I guess we shall see.
Yeah, I guess my thing is, like, okay, with these books, like, obviously it's gonna go bad, but, like, I guess in my head it's just,
but
like...
badly for whom?
For everybody.
Okay.
If we've learned anything so far. Bad for the people serving, because they're being exploited. Bad for everyone else, because their plans are being messed up. Definitely bad for the people with other religions, like Melisandre and them and all that going on. But yeah, like, it's weird, but I also do wonder, like...
So not necessarily bad for, like, the nobility, like Tommen and Cersei and, like, everybody who's in power.
I think definitely bad for them, because I think they would be, like, I think less bad for them than, like, Stannis, right? Because that's like, oh, you left the Seven behind, blah, blah, blah. But I definitely think nobility will be targeted more so than other people. So definitely bad for the noble people, for sure. But maybe just not as bad as the noble people also committing religious treason.
Okay. So worse for Stannis, but still bad for Tommen / Cersei.
Yeah, and that's why I meant, like, oh yeah, it's just kind of bad for everyone. Because all the people that we know are probably the ones who are going to get targeted.
Right. Especially the ones in this book, because we ain't seen no Stannis.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Jenna asks about, like, Tywin on his deathbed. Apparently he was smiling, and Jaime's like, no, he was just rotting. That wasn't really a smile. And she's like, I saw him smile. He smiled when he wed your mother, and he smiled when he was made hand for King Aerys, and he smiled when you were born, so that was cool. So I did see him smile. And... she's like, how are you gonna resolve the situation here? And he's like, well, I'm gonna treat with the Blackfish. And she's like, that's not gonna work. And he's like, well, I'm gonna offer him good terms. And she's like, well, terms require trust. And the phrase murdered guests beneath their roof, and no offense, my love, but you did kill a certain king you had sworn to protect.
Oh my god. She do be speaking facts, but harsh.
I love her. I love her so much.
Oh my god.
And he's like, okay, fine, then I'll just kill him. And she's like, okay. Nobody is fooled by that,
Oh my god.
So he's like, okay, fine, what would you have me do then? And
kill Edmure?
She's like, yeah, maybe kill Edmure, and then at least the Blackfish will know that your threats aren't empty. So,
yeah, that you're different than what the rest of the fools have been cooking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, but then he's gonna be even more mad, and it's like, can't make it worse, he already hates y'all, like,
And then they pivot to talking about Cersei again, and her...
I like this conversation. I love someone just... This is what I wanted. Do you remember when I was like, can someone just acknowledge that she's fucking everything up? So, and I love the fact that it's another Lannister.
Yeah. Why don't you take us through it since you love it so much?
Okay, alright. Okay, yeah, so... Jenna? Jenna. I'm sorry. Now that I've done it wrong once, it's gonna stay wrong in my head. Okay. Jenna is basically just, like, critiquing all of Cersei's moves, which I love. She's like, she would have done better to leave the tower and burn the hand. So she's like, why would you burn the Tower of the Hand? Why would you appoint Harris Swift your hand. Like, that's a terrible idea. And I literally thought Giles Rosby was dead. Like, let alone now he's like master of coin. What? Meriwether.
She's not wrong. He really is just dead, but he's somehow still walking.
Yeah, literally. And she's like, yeah, Meriwether ain't shit. Like, your dad used to call his grandpa the Chuckler. And he got himself chuckled into exile. So I don't know why you're bringing someone back from exile and instantly giving him this position.
She's got the faith arming. She's calling in loan, she's had the Bravosi calling in loans from everyone, because now that now that King's Landing isn't paying up, the Bravosi are trying to get their loans from all the other lords back.
Yeah.
So it's causing trouble. She's just basically creating an atmosphere where everybody hates Cersei.
Yeah, literally. Ugh. And so is this just like Jenna's smart, or like Jenna's at Riverrun, so she knows the hot goss, or like everyone knows all of this goss in detail, and everyone's out here criticizing?
Everyone knows this, but Jenna is the one who can analyze it, you know?
That makes sense. But yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about like, so like we all done knew this. Like around dinner, we're all like, the fuck is she doing? Like, is that what people are at?
Or at least, no, well, not necessarily. Like, everybody knows who's on her council, and everybody knows that the Bravosi are coming calling for loans. Like,
but not everyone knows like how all the things are connected, or like,
well, not that it's not Cersei who's doing them, but not everybody is criticizing Cersei for doing them, you know?
Right, got it. Interesting.
Like,
yeah.
Well, maybe they are, but I don't think, like, I just have this feeling that not necessarily.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess I'm just waiting for the moment when everyone,
because like everybody's too self-involved. So like Emmett isn't like what Cersei's doing wrong. He's like, what you're doing wrong to my castle. Like,
right. Yeah, that's true. Meanwhile, she's actually thinking about the bigger picture, like what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, like she's like, Kevin should have been the hand, and he refused, and she's like, what the hell is going on here? Like, something fishy is afoot. And
she just kind of gives us a little bit of family backstory of like, you know, he always does like what he's told. He had to live in Tywin's shadow his whole life, and like all my brothers kind of had that issue. Yeah. Like,
but it wasn't really a thing I had to worry about because I was a girl, so I didn't count it.
And she makes mention of like, oh, like I was his precious princess, like for my dad, precious princess for my brother, until I disappointed him, which is tea.
Right, until she disappointed Tywin by marrying Emmon because her father forced her to. How is that you disappointing him? Oh, no.
Is that what I think she's referring to?
She's definitely not. I think I just forgot what's happening.
Okay.
I caught myself, like, in the last second of that.
I was like, that's such a long-winded way for him to have written that.
No, that was my bad. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was like, I know Tywin is hella petty, but that is, like, a level of insane that he feels too rational to... Right. Yeah, okay, but
I kind of jumped the gun and I confused two things together. Okay, so Jaime's like, did you love him? And she's like, how could I not? I was 7 years old when Walder Frey persuaded my father to have me marry Emmon, and because my dad was like a younger kid, he always wanted to please his elders, so he agreed, and it was only Tywin who stood up for me at my wedding and said it was bullshit, so...
Aww.
Not at the wedding, but maybe at the feast where it was announced.
Yeah.
And,
damn. This kind of adds a bit more context to the whole, like, I know we'd heard before, like, oh, like, Tywin's dad wasn't as, like, very, like...
Yeah, like, everything that Tywin did was kind of to make up for his dad's shortcomings, or what he saw as his dad's shortcomings.
Yeah. So this kind of adds a bit more, like, direct context that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, even Jenna says, like, yeah, like, I loved him. Doesn't mean I liked who he became.
Yes.
But
I really loved that distinction.
Yeah, that was nice. I was like, Damn, that's like so true though. And I feel like most characters in this book don't have that, where it's like, this is how I feel about what you're doing and who you are as a person, and this is how I feel about how you treated me. Because I feel like so many of these characters are so, and I feel like, I mean, us in real life, we're so ruled by, like, how people treat us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, like, sometimes you don't stop to look at the bigger picture to be like, okay, well, like, were they a good person, though? Like, sure, he was my brother, and, like, he was there for me, and I loved him, but it's, like, he wasn't really that great near the end, you know? And, like, I'm gonna be honest about that. You good?
Yes.
Okay.
I just...
You looked so pensive for a second.
Kind of zoned out, sorry.
No, that's okay.
I heard everything you said, so...
Okay, cool.
But it just took me a second for my brain to catch up on the processing, so I just,
cool.
like...
So you just waited it out?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But basically, Tywin was 10 years old when he stood up for her, and she's loved him for that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was big even when he was little, always protecting everyone. Who will protect us now? And Jaime's like, well, he left a son. And she's like, and that's what I fear the most.
Oh.
And he's like, what? And this is when she drops some bombs, and she's like, listen, kid, I've known you for a while, and you're great. Like, you have a lot of good qualities in you. But Tyrion is Tywin's son, not you. I said so once to him, and he would not speak to me for half a year.
Oh my god.
Men are such thundering great fools, even the swords who come along once in 1,000 years.
Oh my god.
What do you think of this? Do you agree with her?
I don't know. It would certainly... Here's the thing. Also with the thing of, like, you know, we've had this conversation so many times, especially a lot in the earlier books, where we were like, does Tywin just not know what's going on under his nose? Like, in terms of, like, the Jaime Cersei stuff and, like,
right,
all that. And I feel like if this, then it sort of, like, makes even more sense to me that it's like, oh, Tywin just is the type of person who just kind of ignores. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Can you complete that sentence?
Okay.
Tywin
like,
is the person that just ignores?
Hold on. Like, just ignore. I guess I just couldn't think of a word to sum it up, but, like, I guess, like, sort of, like, you know, like, when, like, the kingdom needs something, he, like, goes and does it, but he kind of ignores, like, sort of those, like, emotional trials or, like, what's sort of going on in, like, a family sort of way. Like, he just kind of ignores all family
the fact
problems.
That Tyrion took after him. So my question to you was whether you agree that Tyrion is more like Tywin than Jaime.
Yeah, like, I think so.
You're so hesitant.
Like, I'm just thinking, we haven't seen Tyrion in a while, okay? Brain is, like, trying to compute. I think
if
so.
If he's even alive.
And I think it also makes sense, like, you know the thing of, like, oh, like, you hate, like, seeing yourself in other people sometimes.
Right.
Which also makes sense. Like, it's like, he already hates...
Yeah, John.
Yeah, exactly. He already hates Tyrion for, like, oh my god, like, you're my, my love of my life died when you were born because of you, air quotes, like, whatever, you disappoint me, whatever. But, like, on top of that, seeing himself in the sun, he doesn't totally love. It's probably a lot for him. And I think Jaime, like, I think that makes sense to me, because I think even, like, we saw a lot of, like, Jaime was like, yeah, Tywin would just kind of tell me to do this, and then I'd, like, go over and do it. It wasn't, like... So I think Tywin always tried to make Jaime like him, and a lot of times Jaime rose to the challenge of doing the thing that Tywin wanted, but not necessarily in the way Tywin would have done it, you know? And then there's certain things where he
Tywin
went
would
in a
have never
different
joined
direction.
the Kingsguard and given up his claim.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's what I sort of mean. And then I think it just like I think like the older you get, the more like, you know, like your true self comes out, right? Like when he was like 12 and he was like, Jaime, you're gonna do this and be fostered here, blah blah blah, like obviously it makes more sense for Jaime to just have like gone along with it. But like even the things of like it's also I think we kind of see it in like the Cersei thing too, of like Cersei being like, you should do this, and it being like even in book 1 when Cersei was like, you should be Warden of the West, and Jaime was like, why the fuck would I do that? I don't want to. Like even those sorts of things, like it just makes sense that like, and we know like most of his life Jaime just kind of went along with what his sister and his dad wanted from him, right? So I think it was always a thing of like Tywin trying to make Jaime more like him. And because Jaime would always go along with it, he could just think of that instead as more of a thing of, it's not that I'm making him do this, he's doing it because he's also like this. Wow, I'm being so long-winded, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. And yeah, but I think the reason that not that I disagree with this, but that I'm kind of like on the fence about it, is also like, I think between the three of them, it might be Cersei more than Tyrion. Tyrion. I think in my head it goes Cersei, Tyrion, Jaime.
In what ways is Cersei like
more
Tywin?
like Tywin? I think just like a little bit of the hot-headedness and the very like.
Was Tywin hot-headed?
I feel like he was hot-headed sometimes. I feel like he would just do shit sometimes.
Give me an example.
I can't give you. I can't do that. I don't know. I don't remember any of the specifics of what Tywin did. I would argue he was
not hot-headed. He was extra calculating, like.
But I feel like, yeah.
No, like every move he made was very calculated. Like, no.
But he still would just like explode for no reason and do like little things. I feel like I remember him being a bit explosive. Okay,
but I need you to give me an example, because I don't remember this at all.
I don't have examples for you. I don't have examples for you. But, like, well, I guess to be fair, a lot of the times we saw Tywin were with his kid that he hated. And I just feel like that didn't really bring out the best side of him either. Like, I don't know. I just, like, in my head,
even when he was like mean to Tyrion, I didn't get that he was hot-headed so much as he was cold.
He was definitely cold, yeah. Maybe I'll have to go back and see what I'm trying to think of.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because I think like, because I do remember him being like menacingly cold too, but I also feel like there were moments where it was like, when he wasn't being cold, it was always just like him being angry. Like I feel like it was never like it was either like eerily calm in moments where he like should have or could have shown emotion, or he was just like angry. Like there was no like, I just feel like there was no in between, is kind of how I remember him.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know, I think I also just with Cersei versus Tyrion, like I do agree, like Tyrion definitely has like the calculatedness and like the intelligence and everything definitely goes on Tywin. Like that definitely is like a no-brainer. But I think just like more about like, I guess like the worldview and like sort of like the experiences, I just feel like Cersei was a bit more like that. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Like in my head,
listeners, give us your thoughts. Let's
like in
move
my
on.
head, Cersei and Tywin are just a bit more akin than Tyrion.
Okay.
Or like would have been if Cersei was a boy, sort of thing. Maybe I've just spent too much time in Cersei's head and I'm just agreeing with her based off of that. Like, oh, she's the real Tywin.
I'm not saying Tywin was great, really. But I think every move he made, he thought through it a lot, and Cersei doesn't think through anything at all.
Yeah, I Agreed. But I think other than that, like I said, like, I think the plotting and, like, the making money moves, definitely Tyrion. Like, easily. But I guess just, like, the way they are emotionally and that sort of thing, I just feel like spiritually and emotionally, Cersei and Tywin are more alike. Like, I feel like if Tywin had just given Cersei a chance, he could have been like, oh, this is me.
Okay. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. I might have just I genuinely might have just spent too much time in Cersei's head now, though.
Your assessment, for sure.
Like I said, this might just be a symptom of spending a lot of time in Cersei's head. But I do definitely agree, though. I definitely should have led with, I do agree with, like, the intelligence and all the things of Tyrion, but, like, we've been saying that for books. Like, that's old news.
But you didn't say it today?
Well, yeah, just because I think in my head that's, like, a given, so that wasn't the part that I felt the need to think about or think through. Because I was like this, I was like, well, this is true. Also, I will say, I'm glad that we waited to record this. Because when I first read this chapter, my brain was like, Jaime is not his son. Like, she cheated.
Not just your brain, let me tell you. Not just your brain. This is one of those theories.
Because up until, like, because this morning, like, as I was waiting for you on the call, I was just trying to refresh what was going on. And so I refreshed this chapter, and I refreshed Catelyn chapter. And when I read this again, I was like, oh, I think she's just saying, like, oh, like he's his father's son, and you're not quite like that. But, like, right. If we had recorded this when we were going to, I fully would have been like, oh, cheating scandal. So, yeah.
Well, I personally think that it is just, like, you know, in terms of, like, Tyrion's more like Tywin is what she's saying. But there are definitely people who take this to mean that she means that Jaime is not Tywin's son, right, like, biologically, and have come up with various theories regarding
I guess my thing is just, like, we've never had any hints of this, and this feels like the sort of thing where if it was going to be a thing, there would have been at least one time of, like, Tywin loved his wife even when she came home drunk after a night out. Like, do you, like, not exactly, but, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we would have had something, like, because, you know, we've heard so much about, like, how his world, like, went dark when she died. She was, like, the only one who really made him happy. Like, we would have definitely gotten that somewhere, and maybe we have, maybe people have been like, oh, this one thing that they said means that she was out here sleeping with this one squire, like, some guy.
We've already talked about Tyrion being a secret Targaryen theory, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
So, like, there's theories that Tyrion is not actually Tywin's son, and this is, like, the opposite of, like, Tyrion is the only one that's Tywin's son.
Yeah, oh my god, right, because Cersei twin! Where have you been? Okay, I guess my other thing is, who will protect us now? That is what I fear the most. Does Gurley know where Tyrion's at? I just feel like Gurley knows something about Tyrion.
Or maybe what I thought she was saying is that you think you're like Tywin, but you're not.
Yeah,
and your, like, overconfidence is what I think.
Right. And, like, this isn't gonna go that as well as you think it will. I love the idea of, like, her having been, like, helping Tyrion or something. But I feel like if she was, like, someone that he could go to, we would have heard about her more.
Yeah, and been, also, like, she's
the only family member who supported me was my aunt. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a nice thought, you know?
I mean, she's been at Riverrun for a while. Where would she even have Tyrion?
I don't know. Maybe she helped hook him up with somebody. I don't know. I don't have a theory for you. It was just a random thought.
Alright, so predictions. Is Jaime going to be able to negotiate a deal with the Blackfish?
I think he's gonna have to kill Edmure.
Oh. And then what? Like, is it going to be a hostile takeover, or?
I think maybe he'll try to, like, negotiate something after.
So kill Edmure and then negotiate.
Try to renegotiate. Like, hey, I can keep doing this all day.
But
unless you want to go back to the table.
Edmure's the only hostage they have. How are they going to get more to do this all day with?
I don't know. Okay, maybe, I don't know, but I just feel like it would be really out of character for him to actually, like, kill Edmure and then keep following through and be like, okay, like, actually give, like, more of a threat, you know?
Okay, what?
Like, it would be weird of him to not try his darndest to just negotiate.
Right, but you started off by saying he's gonna kill Edmure.
Well, yeah, but, like, then after killing Edmure, like, try to renegotiate, because he's like, I don't want to have to keep doing that, like, I don't want to have to keep doing this.
Okay, so Edmure is for sure gonna die.
I think so.
Ooh, I mean, I never really liked the guy that much, but now I feel bad for him.
Oh my god.
Okay, yeah. Edmure's gonna die, and Jaime's gonna keep trying to negotiate.
Yeah.
Is he gonna be successful in that? Or?
Did they have, like, a plan, like... Well, I guess because they're building, like, the siege stuff and, like, the ram. So I guess, like, they do have a plan to try and just, like, infiltrate. So maybe he might have... I think he'll negotiate, kill Edmure, renegotiate, and then just have to just... But, like...
barge in.
But how's he gonna avoid it? I don't know. Maybe, like, they'll barge in, but he'll be like, don't kill anyone, you don't have to. Or, like, he'll try to be the most, like, non-violent about it that he can. Or, like, okay, all of these specific people are on the don't kill list. And it's, like, a bunch of people.
And once he kills Edmure, are the Westerlings gonna be safe?
Maybe not. But maybe, like, by the time maybe by then he's gotten in there. Like, maybe they're about to do something to the Westerlings. But, like, they just haven't quite done it yet.
At last moment, like,
yeah.
Okay,
or, like,
right.
Because I feel like it would be... Don't you think it would be weird for them to just, like, instantly kill the Westerlings? Like, wouldn't they dangle at first and be like, well, you did that, so we're gonna kill the Westerlings? Like, wouldn't they make it a thing instead of killing and then making it a thing?
Or kill one of them and say we're gonna kill the rest.
Right, they could do that, so maybe they'll do that. But I just feel like it'll be dragged out a bit more, you know?
Okay. Alright then. There's, like, really nothing more to predict on, really, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, is anything gonna happen with the outlaws that are surrounding them?
Maybe, yeah, they could come out of the shadows as stuff is going bad.
They've got, like, a whole army here. How would they succeed? Like, what could the outlaws hope to do here?
Maybe if they're trying to get, like, a specific person or something, it would be best to get them, like, in the chaos of everyone else trying to deal with everyone else.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Who would they want to be trying to get?
Maybe, like, Jaime or something. A lot of people hate Jaime, right?
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe, like...
And if it's Catelyn, maybe she'd be like, you ain't returned no kids of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Pay up.
Mm-hmm. That would be interesting. Imagine him having to come face to face with Catelyn and be like, bro, I've been trying. I sent Brienne. Like, I'm doing all my things. Oh my god, and then Brienne comes and saves him last minute from Catelyn. Because Jaime saved Brienne, so now Brienne's gonna come save Jaime.
It would be nice, for sure. It would definitely be very nice.
That's so nice. That's so
I would
sweet.
like to see that fan fiction.
Slay. Someone write it. I'm just kidding. Someone write it. There's no way that hasn't been written.
Can't give us good things.
Yeah, so we gotta take things into our own hands, guys.
Alright, so Cat of the Canals?
Let's do it.
So, Arya is waking up with the fish sellers. Like, I don't know. Like, this family of fish sellers or clam sellers. Like, they sell sea-related wares.
Okay, they sell sea stuff by the seashore.
Yeah. And they've clearly got a routine. Like, they get up before dawn, they get ready, they make their way over to the market, buy their stuff, load up their carts, and go on their way. And Arya's got, like, this whole thing down. Like, she's been... it's unclear exactly how long it's been, but I would say maybe
definitely
at least a couple
months for sure.
Yeah.
And it had already been a little bit of time when we saw her last with the Sam stuff.
Sam's, exactly.
So it's been, I would say, like 4 months now, at least.
Yeah, like that would make sense because she says, like, out of every 30 days, she spends 3 at the temple. So, like, that to, like, kind of become a thing, you need to do it a couple of times, you know?
Yeah, literally.
Like, so this family that she's staying with, I forget all of their names. Don't expect me to remember them. But they know that she, like, goes to the temple once a month. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
And, like, it's at not the full moon, not the new moon. It's when there's no moon. What's that
when the
called?
Moon was black.
What's it called when... is that a new moon when there's no moon?
Maybe? I don't remember.
Okay, whatever. Once a month, she goes to the temple to serve there. But the rest of the time, she's out on these streets, learning the language, learning the gossip, flipping people off, learning swear words. Just like...
as she should.
This, like, 11-year-old just, like...
that is
calling people camels, cunts. Just...
oh my god. I can't. I love it. And she has wolf dreams.
Yes, she's still having them.
So nice. And she's trying to suppress them, but she can't.
Yeah. So remind me, in the time that she's been in Bravo, she had these dreams before as well, right? Or is this the first time in Bravos that she's had them?
It might be the first in Bravos.
If it's the first, I just want to make note that even the distance hasn't lessened that connection, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think it also has to do with, like, Nymeria as a whole getting stronger. So it's like a stronger connection, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. So they go about their day, and yeah, she's having her wolf dreams. And she's like, I'm not Arya, I am Cat.
And then, yeah, she also has bad dreams, though. Like trauma dreams. Where she's looking for her mom. And it's always raining. And she can hear her mom screaming.
In the wolf dreams, she was swift and strong. It was the other dreams she hated.
But a man with a dog's head would not let her go save her. It's basically just her reliving, like, when she was going to be reunited with her mom, and then the Hound was, like, stopping her from going.
I think I blocked that from my memory because it was too much for me.
Yeah, which sucks. So it's like she's having these dreams where she's free and she's doing whatever.
Cats
and all
never
the things,
weep
and
no more than wolves do. It's just a stupid dream.
It was really sad.
The fish seller guy's name is Brusco. I didn't remember that. I just had to, like, come across it.
Nice.
But so, okay, routine, buying stuff, selling stuff. She's always smelling of fish and brine, obviously. She usually goes down to the Witch Harbor, is it? She calls it?
I think so.
No, but there's multiple harbors. Like, there's one harbor, is it the Purple Harbor or something? That's only for people of Bravos, of, like, Bravosi ships.
Yeah.
And one of the other girls usually goes there. And Arya is the one who goes to the harbor where it's all the other merchants, like, from all the other cities around the world. She's, like, picking up, like, this, you know, dialect there. And
Ragman's Harbor.
Ragman's. I knew it was something raggedy, but I couldn't remember exactly what.
Didn't know it was literally ragged.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, and she's kind of... And she, like, the kindly man taught her a bit more, like, in the few times she's gone back. And there was a couple of interesting things. That, like, Bravos was, like, a secret city for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so cool.
Yeah.
So slay. And it was, like, a place of refuge for, like, the...
enslaved people. Previously enslaved people who would run away here.
From Valeria, right?
Yeah, remember, like,
Yeah.
he told us the story of, like, how the Faceless Men began, like, the very first one of them
Yeah,
gave the
right.
gift to the enslaved people in
Right.
in the mines. So yeah,
Yeah. Oh my god.
there's like this a lot of intertwined, like Faceless Men, Bravos, enslaved people, Valyria intertwining thing.
Mhm.
It's actually a really cool history.
Yeah.
Um and you know, every time he asks her, "Who are you?" "I'm no one." And yeah.
Ugh.
So he's like, "I don't believe you. You're someone. Right now you're a cat of the canals. Go do your job."
Mm.
And so this day that we catch up with her is like a day when she's gonna, at the end of the day, she's gonna go to the temple. So
Yeah.
she's going through her day keeping that in mind. And so
I think it's so funny though that like just like any of us out in the real world, she does her homework so last minute. Last minute
right.
she's like, "Oh yeah, I should probably figure out the other two things I'm going to say. I have one. I have one and it's hot goss about my roommate who sleeps with this other guy." Like
Yeah.
yeah.
So she, oh, I love, okay, so she's Cat of the Canals, and she's followed around by all the street cats.
Oh yeah.
And there's this one that's kind of got like a half ear, and it reminds her of the cat in King's Landing, and she's like, "Oh yeah, but that wasn't me, that was Arya." And she kind of goes through this whole chapter being like, "I'm Cat," and like even the narration is written in like, Cat did this, Cat thought that, and all of that, until one point that I'll point out, and it is so good. Like,
yeah.
it hits so good, you know?
Yeah.
So she's
Slay.
gotten to know like a bunch of the people on the ports, and she's making friends. She's learning how to pickpocket.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my god. Like, it's tragic, but I also just kind of love this life for Arya.
Yeah.
Like, I just want her to be Cat of the Canals and just like live it up, you know?
So true.
Like, it's hard work. And she's like, anytime my muscles ached, I just reminded myself that I'm getting stronger. And I'm like, I wish I had that mindset. Something hurts, and I'm like, never mind, never doing that again.
Oh my god. Yeah. And she's just like, especially because now she's been like basically foraging on her own for so long that it's like she kind of has the skills for this. Like, this is not nothing new. Like, if we took one of the other highborn kids and just put them in here, they'd be so like so lost. But she's just been doing this for like three years now. Like, she's gonna make it.
Yeah.
Keep on surviving. And she like pays attention to all the like ships and stuff that come, and she's always paying attention to like the Westerosi ships too, which is just really cute. Just like another one of those little things from home.
Yeah. There's this she meets up with Cosmo the Conjurer, who does sleight of hand, pulls a mouse out of her ear, and she's like, "No, you just had that up your sleeve the whole time."
She's just built for this life. Also, like, sorry, the thing with the cats you were saying earlier, I think it's especially cute because remember when she found all the stuff at King's Landing and it was because she was following that cat around?
Yeah.
So she just has great adventures when it comes to cats. Like, that's cool.
Yeah. She herself is now a cat. So
maybe that'll keep her safe.
She just kind of wanders the street however the mood strikes her, but she has her usual places she goes, obviously. Sometimes she runs into the famous courtesans of Bravos, and she once ran into the Black Pearl, who you know, who was nice to her and gave her a lot of money, so that was nice. And we hear about Salador San out in these streets or seas. Like when she's selling to some of the ships. Apparently one of the ship's captains was killed by a Lyseni pirate, Salador San.
Yeah.
And they barely got away. So when was the last time we heard about Salador San and what he was up to? Like, he helped Stannis out in the Blackwater, and then and then he found Davos, of course, out on the in the
Yes.
middle of nowhere. And he was like, yeah, Stannis ain't paying us. That
So
was his
then-
last problem,
Yeah,
remember?
so then did he just, like... Was he not supposed to go with them? Was he supposed to be... Is he one of the people who was left back at Dragonstone and he could just do what he wanted? But that's
how
weird
did
to not take your
Stannis
ships
get
with
to the
you.
wall without ships?
Maybe he, like, gave him a bunch of his ships, but he was like, I gotta stay here to do my stuff. I don't remember, yeah, because we just never heard about him again.
Right?
That is
So-
interesting. Yeah, I'm not
well,
sure.
at least this tells us he's alive.
Yeah.
And he's pirating away, so that's something.
Nice.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, to be fair, we didn't really see... Once they got to the wall, we haven't seen Davos's POV since, so maybe, like, Solidor Son was there to drop them off and went back. Like, we don't know the lore there, so maybe we'll find out in the next book. Like, we don't even know what happened. So maybe this is part of some sort of plan, and, like, this is, like, an Easter egg that we'll find
that
later.
would be interesting.
Yeah.
So, some of the people ask her, like, oh, you know, what's, well, obviously, first off, they're like, how are you from King's Landing, and how are you here? And she tells her story. And they're like, oh, what can we do for a bit of entertainment? And so first she's like, oh, there's these plays being put on, there's the Drunken Oarsmen, there's eel fights you can go to, and they're like, well, that's fine, but we really just meant we want some sex. And then she knows all the good sex workers as well.
Oh my god. She's talking it up with these bros, like...
I just love her, honestly.
I love this. Like, they're like, yeah, girl, where can we get... Like, what? This is so funny. Like, wild. Yeah, she's like,
she says,
the happy port is where all the porters go, Cat assured the men. Like, what? Such a weird sentence.
and she knows that they should ask for Mary. That's her. She's the nice one. And she won't rob you blind, because there's some that will.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's really funny. And then somebody's like, oh, what about the fancy courtesans? And, like, obviously they're like, you can't afford that shit.
So true. Oh my god.
Let's see.
Yeah, and they just describe, like, all the courtesans, and they all just sound really pretty and really cool.
Yeah. This is when she talks about, like, meeting the Black Pearl and how she paid, like, a whole bunch more. And apparently this Black Pearl is descendant of the dragons.
Oh my god, another Targaryen! Wow.
Oh, and one of her 3 things was that she told the Kylie man that the Black Pearl's real name is Bellagree Otherus. I have no idea if I said that even remotely correctly, but it's interesting. And her mother's name was Bellanora, but the very first Black Pearl was also a Bellagree. Bellagare? I have no idea whether to say it like French or not.
Yeah.
And she asked them about the war happening in Westeros, and they're like, oh, there ain't no war, at least not where we're at. Because they're from the Vale. And this is when she learns that her aunt be dead.
Oh my god.
Yeah, murdered by her own singer. So that is the story that everybody knows and spreads.
Wow.
Yeah. Cat of the Canals never had an aunt. And so she just walks away.
Yeah.
That's like kind of shocking news to find out just like randomly on the harbor.
But to be fair, she literally never met her aunt.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. But, like, compared to the fact that she's already found out, like, this brother's dead.
Well, that's what I'm like. She's gotten kind of a lot really insensitized to all of it. It's wild.
Yeah.
So then she comes across
she gets offered a job.
Yeah. Yeah, because so this guy's like, oh, I would give you more money and you wouldn't smell like fish. You can sell my stuff instead.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, I'm cool with what I'm doing. And is the job she's being offered as a cut purse?
I think so. I believe so.
Yeah, because this guy's other cut purse lost a few fingers and can't really do the job.
Arya would be great at this.
Yeah, so now he's gonna be an oarsman instead. And later on, she comes across like the mummers who play the drunken oarsman, and they're missing a couple of oarsmen. So she's like, "Oh, try this guy. He's looking to be an oarsman." Like she's making connections.
Networking. She is networking. She is a living, breathing job post. Like bulletin. Remember those back in the day? I
just love her. Like I want to follow her along on her day with this. Like
literally,
like we do with this, and that's why I really enjoyed it. But I want to do it like actually.
Yeah. Because especially usually following Arya along is just so dreadful. You know,
that's true.
Seeing like, oh, she's trapped at Harrenhal again.
Like there's this kind of sense of safety in this that has not existed for Arya in so long.
Yeah.
And just like a comfort of like familiarity. Like I don't know. There's
and like she's like in her element and she's like making things happen. Like just sort of like just a sort of like comfortable independence rather than like a you could die. Sure, you're independent, but you could die at any second, like, you know? Yeah. And she's just, like, in a nice place, and the adventures, like, at least momentarily are just sort of pleasant, you know? Yeah, it's really nice. It's a good, like, very, like, you know how people do, like, you, like, graduate university or like you leave high school and you do like a gap year of like traveling the world and finding yourself. That's this, but for Arya, like age 11 or 10 or whatever it is. Yeah. Which is wild to think about. But this is basically her like, I'm gonna take some time off for myself to see the world.
Time off from all the suffering to
other suffering.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like her entire life has been a gap year, though.
Yeah, but I like to think that at some point we'll just get to go back home from this gap year.
Right. So she gets to Mary's brothel, which is like she always sells out there. It's a great place to be. They're nice to her. You know, it's great. And this is where Darian hangs out as well. And he's playing his stupid love songs. Mm-hmm. And she gets really angry looking at him because, and, you know, they call him the Black Singer, but he's barely got any black on him anymore because he doesn't want to be a black brother anymore. Mm-hmm. The only black thing on him are his boots. So she does make note of that. Mm-hmm. Wonder why. And... yeah, and he's singing some song about some stupid lady throwing herself off some stupid tower because her stupid prince was dead. That is quoted from the text, just saying.
Oh my god.
That's a lot of stupid there.
The lady should go kill the ones who killed her prince, and the singer should be on the wall.
Yeah. Who is he singing about, this guy?
I don't know.
Because the only lady I know of throwing herself off a wall is, Ashara Dane. Remember? The rumor is that she loved Ned, but Ned spurned her, so she killed herself.
Right.
So I wonder if that is what this is, or maybe there's another lady who threw herself off a wall that this guy is singing about. But yeah, maybe. She's thinking back about, like, back to Sam and all of that. And Darian's decided he's never going back, and he gets by singing for people and getting gigs around the city. Mm-hmm. And while he's sitting there, the sailor's wife comes and sits next to her, and so this is the person that last Arya chapter, no, I think in Sam's chapter, that I was like, people theorize this is Tyrion's first wife.
Right. Yeah.
And, like, some of the evidence for that in this chapter is that she speaks the common tongue. She there's something sad about her, even though she's quick to laugh, like, you know.
Right.
And she prays for her husband, the very first one, who has been lost. But apparently Lana thinks that, or one of them says, what is it?
She thinks that if she finds the right god, maybe he'll send her own back to
Yana
her.
says that she tasted her blood and her first husband is actually dead. So Tyrion, last time we saw him, was not dead. So that discounts it, but also who knows how credible this girl's blood-tasting abilities are.
And maybe
Tyrion he's dead on the inside.
Because Tyrion did die, and maybe this is like reborn Tyrion, you know? Like, so the old Tyrion is dead, you know?
So I kind of get this theory, is what I'm saying.
Okay, interesting. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so what the sailor's wife is saying is like, oh, he has such a nice voice and that fair face, and he is fair of face and foul of heart, thought Arya. And this is when it's like switches from Cat to Arya because she is in Arya mode now.
Yes. This is when her temper is just slaying. She can't keep her identity hidden just because she is who she is.
Yeah, so she sells her oysters and sells out, and she leaves the place, and Darian's also leaving because he's got a gig that night. So they were walking together and they turn into an alley, and she's talking about, oh, hey, what happened to your brother? I thought you were going, like, you know, just all of that stuff. And he's like, well, we were all gonna go. It was Lord Snow's command. Arya doesn't seem to give any credence to that, but also, like, Snow is a common last name for every bastard ever, so, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's too late now. I'm not going back. And she's like, yeah, just so, said Kat as they stepped into the gloom of a twisty little alley. And then we just cut to her returning to Brusco with some boots, and Brusco's like, oh, these are nice, but they don't fit me. And she's like, okay, well, I gotta go. Tonight's the night.
Oh my god.
And he's like, yeah, Valar Dohaeris, Valar Morghulis, she thought. Like,
oh my god.
Menacingly. That's me putting that in there.
She's terrifying. I don't want to get on her wrong side.
This murder child it's so tragic, but I also kind of love it. It's so tragic.
Yeah.
It's so tragic. It's so messed up.
However, very iconic.
Yeah, this is like Cersei needs therapy. Arya needs just as much therapy. But at least I am entertained. Well, no, they both are very entertaining. But with Arya, I'm not as against her actions as I am with Cersei.
Yeah, because she's not out here ruling a kingdom. Most of her actions just kind of affect her and the people immediately around her.
Right. And, like, the times she doles out justice, it's actually against people who kind of deserve it, you know?
Right,
so, like,
yeah. Yeah, that's true. There's been very few innocents dead.
People to Qyburn left and right, and even, like, on a personal level, that's not right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
speaking
she goes...
of what's not right, I don't want to mention this, but I do. She makes what? Did you say I know?
I said, oh no.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are you... Okay. I was like, are you reading my mind? She mentions that, Lana, who's the youngest, and she's 14, is the person who gets called 3 times as much as everyone else, which is so great.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just say that and then move on.
Yeah.
Boo!
Yeah, in this chapter of joy, there's got to...
there's got to be a damper.
Yeah.
There's got to be multiple dampers.
We say joy. Like, I acknowledge just how messed up that is, okay? I know.
It's okay.
I know.
It be how it be sometimes.
She makes her way to the temple. She goes down to her room and, like, takes off all of her clothes and scrubs up and gets in her, like, acolyte attire.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to Uma for some food.
Mm-hmm.
And then she hangs out with the waif who is preparing poisons. And now we get like a little mini lesson in poisons as well, like flashbacks to moments in the series with poisons.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is Sweet Sleep. This is the one that they keep giving Robin, Aaron. Remember him?
Yeah.
Like it can help calm you, but also a little too much, and it will produce a sleep that does not end.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
And then there's the Tears of Lys, used for John Aaron, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And also potentially what the Red Viper gave to Tywin, because it rots your digestive system. And remember how Tywin
right, yeah.
stank and was on the toilet and all of that,
right,
that theory.
Yeah. Wow.
There is basilisk blood, which turns you mad, and if given, a mouse will attack a lion.
Mm-hmm.
And Arya's like, oh, would it work on a dog? And the waif is like, yeah, on any animal with warm blood. Do you remember what that one's about?
No, I don't.
Okay, now I don't remember this guy's name, but in Harrenhal, remember her manager torturer guy?
Right. Oh,
and he was eaten by his dog.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And everybody was like, but this dog was so loyal.
Oh, and that was the first one where we were like, shit just got real.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's the first name she gave. His name was Wheeze, I think. I think Wheeze was his name.
Oh, I think it was his name, yeah.
And also, it was Jaqen who used it, so it makes sense if he's a faceless man that he knows about all these poisons and all of that, you know?
Wow, yeah.
And also, how did he keep this poison with him all through all that? Like,
that's okay. That's a plotline we don't need to
maybe
know.
like Harrenhal had a secret stock. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, and the waif tells the story of like, oh, I was an only child of an ancient house, my only heir to my father, and then he remarried, and then his wife wanted me dead because she wanted her kids to be the heirs, so she tried to kill me. And when my dad found out, he gave me and all his wealth to the many-faced god, and had his wife killed.
Mm-hmm.
And Arya's like, is that true? And she's like, well, there's truth in it, and there's lies as well. There's an untruth and an exaggeration. And apparently the exaggeration is that it was 2/3 of his wealth that he had to give up, not all of it. And the lie is that there is no lie. And then Arya's like, are you lying about that? And there's just like no answer. This is a whack story. Like, it's interesting. I want to know what's true and what's not true.
Yeah.
Is it all a lie?
I don't know.
I don't know. But basically, at this point, the Kylie man comes in and he's like, oh, what are the 3 things you learned? So she's like, oh, Narbo's figures will not bend. He's going to be an oarsman. He's like, okay, what else you got? And she's like, oh, these guys had a fight and they left the ship, but I think they're gonna come back. And he's like, do you think or do you know? And she's like, I only think. But even though she's like, I definitely know.
Oh my god.
And then the third thing is that Darian is dead. Okay, at what point did you figure out that Darian was dead? When she got the boots? You didn't?
No.
Not when she had the boots?
I guess I was like, I guess I just was like, maybe her murder child days are behind her. Like, maybe she just kind of like beat him up or something. Or like, was like, I just assumed she like threatened him out of there or something. Like, I guess I just like, it was like, I didn't want to think that, like, she did. Yeah. Which I guess in a way it's like comforting because it's like, murder child gonna murder child. And that's the Arya that we know now. So it makes sense that it's kind of like a callback to Arya is her murdering someone. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we know that she's still Arya, is that she murders someone. So I think part of me was like, oh, but like, it was like the compromise between being murder child and serving was like, I think I just kind of was a little bit in denial. Like, I think I just kind of was like, she took care of it. Or like, she was like, you have to keep like preaching about the night. Like, she talked to him or like threatened him or something. And then she was like, well, now you have to keep preaching about the Night's Watch and I'm going to take your damn boots. Like, I figured there was some sort of compromise made there instead of killing him. Which I know was really out of character, but I think I was just hoping against, you know.
Alright, well, Darian is dead. The black singer who was sleeping at the Happy Port. He was really a deserter from the Night's Watch. Someone slit his throat and pushed him into a canal, but they kept his boots. Oh, good boots are hard to find, just so. Who could have done this thing, I wonder? Arya of House Stark. She really tries to play the Arya of House Stark card.
She's like, it wasn't me, it was Arya. It's like when you say it's your imaginary friend.
That girl, I thought she had left Bravos. Who are you? No one. So he's like, you lie. And he turns to the waif and is like, let's bring some warm milk for our friend Arya, who has returned so unexpectedly.
Oh, God.
And she was like, I expected a lot of reactions, but I never expected warm milk. So she drinks it, and it tastes a little weird. But the guy's like, oh, just go to bed. Tomorrow you must serve. So she goes to bed, and she dreams she was a wolf again. But it was different from the other dreams. In this dream, she had no pack. She prowled alone, bounding over rooftops and padding silently besides the banks of a canal, stalking shadows through the fog. What do you think about that dream?
I don't know. Is it, like, what happened to the connection? Like, is it just, like, this is, like, my new identity vibes now? But still, like, if it's still, like, she's a wolf, though, like, I don't know.
Okay. Well, when she woke the next morning, she was blind. What do you think?
What the heck? Is it permanent?
You tell me.
Is it like a temporary punishment? It makes sense, because this is the first and only time she's been, like, very, like, Arya about it, and, like, refused to listen to, like, you know, whatever. Like, she did, like, a very Arya action, and it's, like, whatever, but I just hope it's not permanent, you know? But I also worry that we're not going to see her again before the end of this book, and then we're not seeing her in the 5th book. So, is this how we leave Arya?
No comment.
Because, like, I would like to know what the heck is happening.
So say she's blind, whether temporarily or permanently or whatever.
Yeah.
What does she do?
I don't know. I mean, she's gotta serve, right? But I don't know how she's gonna, like, go around, like, doing her learning or, like, doing her serving. Like, I don't know. Like, does she just, like, figure it out? Like, get a cane and just figure out how to go about it? And, like, maybe for now all she's doing is just being here and serving? Like, she's just kind of stuck here now?
I mean, it's kind of going to be hard to be selling out on the streets without being able to see.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, that's kind of, like, what's she gonna do, you know? So I guess it's kind of like the waif thing, where it's like, well, she's stuck now, like, she was part of the sacrifice, and here she is. So, I guess this is how they get ya.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything else left to predict?
Okay, so the wolf thing, like, I don't know, is it like, I don't know, like, what kind of broke that connection, you know what I mean? Because usually when there's something else
like,
going on,
she's dreaming of Bravos now, like, Westeros isn't even in the picture.
Yeah. So somehow, like, the connection is broken, but, like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, I don't know.
Does this mean that she's gonna become even more disconnected from her identity as Arya, or
Maybe. I think so. Yeah, because especially, like,
be no one? Like, will we open up the next chapter and it's gonna say no one?
Maybe. I wouldn't be shocked if it was, like, unknown or something, you know? Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna have to think on this, because I'm just kind of really confused about what's going on. So, I don't really have any predictions or anything. I'm just really confused, because it's so... I think this is one of the weirdest endings of a chapter I've ever read in my life. Because it's just so, like...
I mean, you go from, I killed a guy, to now I'm blind, like...
Exactly, and there's no explanation, it's nothing, it's very much giving, the axe landed the back of her head. And you're... except with that
right,
one...
that was another Arya chapter.
At least with that one, I thought I knew what was going on. I mean, I guess this could be another fake, where it's like, she was blind until she rubbed her eyes and looked at the morning sun, like... You know what I mean? This could be another fake, but, like, I don't know.
I don't know if it would be, like, stated so...
clearly to then be a fake,
statement of fact, like...
She was blind, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but I guess I'm just hoping, I'm sorry, I have no predictions for you. I'm sure, like, I think I'll ruminate on this as we read following chapters and kind of try to think about how it ties in, because right now I have no idea. I'm just so, like, I read that and I was like, are you sure? Like, I was like, are we sure this is what happened? Just because, like, I can't even be, like, shocked or mad or sad just because I'm confused. Like, I guess this just kind of came out of nowhere.
So it's a punishment for her, like, killing Darian. That seems clear to you?
Yeah, yes, yeah. I think so, because it's like you're supposed to be no one, you're supposed to serve, and the whole reason we sent you out there is to learn things and to be this nobody and then to come back and, like, you know, it's just to help you get acquainted with the land, not to help you build your own identity sort of thing. And now it's like this punishment of, like, no, like, you've committed to being one of the hands of the many-faced god, and now you're now you're being Arya, you know? And, like, extremely so. It's not like you went out and told someone your name was Arya. It's, like, a bigger deal. Like, you went and killed a guy for Arya's sake. So I think it's just definitely, like, a little cult punishment, you know? Still think cults are good?
No comment. So... Speaking of next chapters, we're reading 2 next time. Give me your hopes and predictions.
Okay, let's do Cersei and Asha.
Okay. So we're reading chapters 35 and 36.
Okay.
Chapter 35 is Samwell.
Oh my god, he's back. Okay, I guess we'll find out what happened to him. Well, he didn't die. Oh yeah, because the guy was like, I'm gonna show you where the dragons are. So maybe he's on his way with the guy and we hear a bit more about the lore. All of that. Just so exciting.
Cool. How are the rest of his party doing?
Well...
Because he had Gilly and the baby and Maester Aemon left.
Aemon's, like, definitely dead.
Actually?
I think so. Like, there's no way he made it. It's been a bit. Unless we pick up, like, right where we left off or something. And then I think Gilly's the one I'm kind of worried about. I'm like, what's she gonna be at? But I think she'll probably just still be... Well, he left her behind, right? So I just really... They make it very unclear what happened to Gilly. Because, like, Arya asks, like, oh, what happened to Sam? Like, did he get away? And then, like... Darian doesn't say anything about Gilly, so maybe Gilly's still here somewhere in Braavos, just waiting for Sam. Or maybe, like, Sam was like, oh, let's grab Gilly on our way. So I think Sam was like, let's grab Gilly on our way, because that would be a long time to leave her alone.
Wanted to see the dragons, or, like, wanted to hear about the dragons.
Right, yeah.
And so Gilly was with Mr. Aemon.
So maybe they went back to get them, and Aemon's dead. Grab Gilly and the baby.
Alright, well, chapter 36 is Cersei.
Cersei.
You're actually
Okay.
getting some of these right now.
What a wonder. What a wonder. Cersei is making more bad plans. Maybe she's finally realizing that reappointing the Faith was a bad idea. Maybe people are finally standing up to her and someone comes in and is like, girl, you need to stop everything you're doing. Or maybe she just goes on making bad decisions.
Okay. I mean, what else can I ask for? I guess the only thing, like last time Loras was going after Dragonstone to win that
Oh,
back.
yeah.
How's that situation? Like, are we gonna hear about that at all?
Maybe we'll find out, like, if it works or not, but I don't think it's gonna work. I don't remember what I said. I think we'll probably just hear maybe like, oh, Loras got there and he's figuring it out.
Well, until that time, hope you enjoyed this episode. Farewell, my friends. Oh, wait. No. So we'll read emails next time. Send us emails in the meantime. Our email is popculturesymposium@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at popculturesymposium. And of course, join the Discord and tell us all your thoughts about everything. And until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.